Florida State saw a lot of their recruits fall in the rankings this year, which of course had FSU fans up in arms. And I understand that. Fan is short for fanatic, and that's what we all are. But one recruit dropped in the rankings so much more drastically than anyone else, even outside of just FSU commits. Richie and I talked about him on the live show this week. So I'm going to show you that, but then stick around afterwards so I can give you an update on some other good recruiting news that the Noles may get fairly soon. Speaking of recruiting, Landon Thomas this week dropped a little over 100 spots. Harlan, I don't know if you have that first picture or not that you can throw up, but dropped a little over 100 spots over a 3-week period, Richie, where no games were played. He didn't remeasure and come out smaller. He didn't lose a bunch of weight. His hand size didn't go down. Dropped 100 spots over the last 2 updates in the 247 rankings, which was the highest drop that I could find. I didn't go down into like the 700 and 800s to look for kids who had dropped that much. Listen, I tweeted this. I'm not necessarily one of those guys that's like, I'm a rankings bias guy and everybody hates the Noles. I know that 247 has been high on some Noles in the past. They were high on a lot of our kids in the 23 class. But then Harlan showed that other picture. I asked about it. I asked their rankings guy, and this was the answer that we got back from Andrew Ivins. Landen Thomas didn't end up making it to one of the All-Star games, but there were other tight ends who did make it. We're always going to value prospects with the most information available. We were waiting to get verified, plus another live verified information like height, weight, all that stuff, plus another live exposure on Thomas, and thought we would see him in December and January, but didn't. We're also placing a premium on tight ends with multi-sport backgrounds. Richie, before we go too far down the conspiracy
don't get me started
theory here, we're going to do it though. This, I'll say, this is not like the guys at Noles 247 do a phenomenal job. This has Landon Thomas's ranking has nothing to do with those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like Brendan and Chris and Zach and all those guys do a great job. Dane and others, they have nothing to do with this. So let's preface everything by saying that. Secondly, you knew Landon Thomas wasn't a multi-sport athlete when you had him rated as the number 1 tight end in the country. So using that now as justification to drop him, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If your priorities change and your focus change, that's fine. But then say that. Don't say like, well, he's not a multi-sport athlete, so we dropped him, because he wasn't 4 months ago when he was the number 1 tight end in the country. And then lastly, he didn't make that All-Star game that happened just a week or so before the rankings that they would like to have seen him at, but he was enrolled in Florida State. Like, he was already on campus. So anyway, I'm not here to say that 247 or On3 or any of these places hate the Noles. That's not. I know that when you start to say that, you've got national 247 personalities that are also in this FSU market that just go to the defense of 247. Oh, our rankings are better than this and that. I'm not attacking the entire process or the entire system. I do think it's funny that this kid drops 100 spots without playing a game, without anything happening. So I don't know. Richie, I'll leave it open to you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's ridiculous in the fact that this is how we are ranking kids, right? Like, it's just comical to me that the fact that you would drop a kid 100 spots and, go from the number 1 tight end to the number 11 tight end in the country, overnight, basically, because he didn't show up to an All-Star game. Like, he could have played an All-Star game if he wanted to. But to your point, TJ, no, he enrolled at Florida State. He is in college. It's just crazy to me that this is where we are. I'm not going to get too upset about it because it is what it is. But at the same point, it's like, really, is this how we're doing this right now? Because it doesn't make any sense to me personally, because I don't know how you can have on the next to final rankings, have him as the number 1 tight end in the country. And then in the final rankings a week later after All-Star games, there weren't 10 tight ends that showed up for these All-Star games. He's number 11 now. It makes no sense. He went from like borderline 5-star to 198 in the country. No, that does not make any sense. It's interesting. And to your point, it doesn't say anything about, Chrisney or Zach or Brendan or any of those guys. They don't have any say in these national rankings. So guys, please do not get upset at them. But I don't know, man. It's just wild to me the way it happened. But I'm still very excited to have Landen Thomas at Florida State, and I think he's going to have a hell of a career as a Seminole.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I don't necessarily think that it is, and we'll get to that super chat after this segment. Thank you, Josh. I don't think it's like conspiracy stuff. The ratings are really good at projecting, where guys are going to end up in the draft. They talk about it all the time. Like 5 stars typically translate to first rounders. 4 stars typically day 2 guys, second and third round, and then 3 stars kind of fill out the rest of the draft. They've done a good job of predicting that. But again, I think you're kind of losing the plot a little bit when you go so far into, hey, this kid didn't show up for this camp, so we dropped him 100 spots. We'll get right back to Richie and I's conversation, but I do want to thank Rapid SEO Host for their support in making this video possible. Rapid SEO Host specializes in high-speed, SEO-focused WordPress hosting. What does that mean? It means that if you have a WordPress website for your business, or you need a WordPress website for your business, and you want it to show up higher in Google search engine results, Rapid SEO Host will optimize your website to be lightning fast. We're all in competitive businesses, and so you need every advantage that you can possibly get. And Rapid SEO Host is here to help you do that. They're noles, just like you and I are. They are really efficient. They offer a hands-off approach. You don't have to worry about anything or be the expert. You may be switching from one of those big box name hosting companies over to Rapid SEO Host so that you can get the attention that your website needs. All of their info is in the description. Let them know that TJ sent you. I appreciate them for their support on this channel over the last couple of months and hope that you'll give them a try today. Reach out again with the info in the description. 100 spots is insane. And I'm a homer, right? And so I'm going to fight for the kids that sign with FSU. I'm going to fight for the kids that want to be part of this class.
Joel.
This university. Yeah, Joel, we'll get yours in just a second too, but sorry about that. Josh, your shine got taken a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me to see a kid drop that much for not attending a camp. Is tough. It's unfortunate. I really like Landen Thomas. I think he's going to be really good for the Noles. Does it matter at the end of the day? No. I'll be honest, it doesn't. Just due to the fact that he's a Nole now, and Florida State. I'll tell you this: Florida State liked him a lot, and I trust Mike Norvell, and Kirby Smart liked him a lot. And guess what? I trust Kirby Smart's evals a lot too. So if Kirby Smart wanted him and Mike Norvell wanted him, I don't really care what camp he didn't go to. I guess that's the way I'll say it. But it's not fair to the kids, because these kids can tell you like, oh, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. They do, right? No kid wants to get dropped over 100 spots. So I'll say that. Like, that kind of sucks for him. So, all right, let's give some love. All right, let's give Josh a little love.
Let's give Josh love first, yeah.
Yeah, Josh, give me that leaderboard. The ranking conspiracy is real. They punished the kid for going to a school early and actually getting better developed. Hey, I won't disagree, Josh.
Yeah.
That's your take. I'm with it. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about Landen Thomas being dropped? What do you think about 247's excuse for it? Let us know down in the comments. Okay, we talked about some potential good news coming for the Noles in the very near future. I really like where FSU stands for Amari Williams. He's a 4-star edge prospect in the 2024 class. He originally was in the 25 class. He reclassified, and he's a top 200 kid on 247, also top 200 in the On3 industry rankings. The Noles look poised to grab him, and I think an announcement will probably come around or on signing day here in a couple of weeks. He's from the Benjamin School down there in Palm Beach Gardens, 6'4", 205 pounds. We've talked a lot about defensive end recruiting and the need for that to continue to improve and get better, and this is a step in the right direction if the Noles can land him. There was some thought that he might commit and sign with the early signing class in that period, and he didn't do that. And when that didn't happen, there was some concern that the Noles would not be able to land him ultimately. It looks like they put themselves in a good position. I'm hearing good things about where that one is. Still need to finish. Still a little over a week to go until early signing day. But the Noles could add to their 2024 class with a really talented prospect. And I don't think this is a kid that can come in and step in day one and make an impact. I think reclassifying, being younger, all of that matters. But we've worried about where the depth on the defensive line is going to be after this year and beyond. I think Amari Williams helps you with that a ton. We'll see how it all shakes out, but I like where the Noles stand. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, being part of the channel, watching and checking us out. Thank you guys for the support as always. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.